Here we are again. It is still Poet the Poet. It's still the International Books and Cafe, the Books and Baguettes, and we have books here of every conceivable language. A few even I don't recognize, and it's on LaGuardia Place in the NYU area. Come down and visit. And now, we always look for poets with voice, and believe me, our next guest, you never heard a voice like this, both in the poetry and underneath that foliage there. And I'm pleased to welcome David Michael Nixon to Poet the Poet. He is a poet, occasional folk singer, occasional tree surgeon. I met him at one of his branches, and there we are. He has a couple of books out. You See Me in the Trees by Green Turtle Press, Blue Water Line Blues, Hunting the World. He's been in a whole mess of publications, including ours, which I just happen to have with me. We have a little magazine. It's called Medicinal Purposes. It's great fun, and you should look it up sometime. It's available here. And he's done all kinds of readings in New York City, in upstate New York, Pennsylvania, a couple of other strange and wonderful places. Is that not so, David?
That's roughly so. One in Texas.
But you actually got through in Texas?
Well, I was visiting someone, and there was a bookstore. All you had to do was make your own flyer, and you had a reading, right?
Gee, just like home. Anyway, speaking of which, how about a poem, people really know what's inside that head there?
Yes. Actually, I was once a tree surgeon's helper, but the trees wouldn't want me actually cutting on them in person.
They would bark at you, I suppose.
Probably so. I'm going to read occasional things from my three little chapbooks and other things that aren't. We'll just sort of intersperse them. The first is from my first chapbook, and this poem is called Tomorrow Morning with Tennessee Williams. I always have to preface this by saying I never met Tennessee Williams, despite the way it sounds in the poem. And it begins with a quotation from Webster's Dictionary, where they quote Tennessee Williams to define the word will. Tomorrow morning with Tennessee Williams. Will, used to express simple futurity. Tomorrow morning I will wake up in this first-class hotel suite. Tennessee Williams, Webster's 7th New Collegiate Dictionary. Tomorrow morning I will wake up in this first-class hotel suite. Tennessee Williams will be here with me, his eyes shining with simple futurity. I will not wish to wake him roughly, for the present unmans us, such of us who are not women. It unwomans them, but they won't be present. We will be here alone in this first-class hotel suite, Tennessee Williams and I in his simple future. His eyes will shine with it, more bright than they could ever be from counting the royalties Webster's won't pay him, which he will not will his children. Webster's 7th Collegiate has defined the future by his presence, but only he and I will be present in this first-class hotel suite, where the future will be shining simply in his first-class eyes for years to come.
Little poetic license there, I guess. You never met Tennessee Williams. I never met Tennessee Ernie Ford. And Alexandra never met Tennessee Tuxedo. Keeps us going. What else have you got in there?
Well, I've got a couple of other things here. This one is called No Warmth Will Come Today. This is a poem in rhymed couplets. Occasionally rhyme sneaks into these, other times not. And I don't think this needs a big explanation. No warmth will come today. She gets the letters that I send her. The icicles whisper of surrender all night in a tight row under the eaves. In the morning she pinches coleus leaves and fears that her plant is slowly dying. I have appeared, a young man whitely trying, a thin blue outline on plain unlined paper. The news warns that a man is out to rape her. Lieutenant Rogers advises her on precautions to be taken by single ladies. Careful motions describe her day as the white sun rises over the eaves, where each icicle surmises that no warmth will come today worth fearing. conferring quietly, they find the cold day cheering, and soon resolve to hold out a while longer. Inside, she wonders when the earth will flower, and puts my latest letter with the others, closing the desk drawer on a tier of brothers, each one too weak to break out, though unlocked. The Coleus finds the white sun partially blocked by icicles hanging halfway down the window. It still knows where a Coleus must go and keeps on leaning toward the partial sunlight. The icicles stay still and wait for night.
Well, it's not easy being a plant in a poem, I tell you that.
No, it can be rough.
Remember, tree surgeon's assistant here. He knows.
Okay, now this one, I sometimes have poems that are American legends. This one actually is Irish, an unusual occurrence. Legendary people occur in these poems, and then you make up your own history, your own politics, and your own story. This is one like that. It's called Last Night in a Shed by the Irish Sea. Last night George Bernard Shaw appeared, a sharkskin shawl over his shoulders, to shield him from the sheets of spray the wind drove from the Irish Sea. As soon as he saw the weathered shed, he headed for it, washed by spray. Inside the shed he met John Synge and shut the door to wait for Stevens. After an hour, the wind was shining. A rainbow in the spray came swirling, and into the shed stomped short James Stevens, clutching something under his cloak. Out came the crock, its gold a rainbowed honey, Synge mixed with seaweed. They ate it and gulped hot spearmint tea Shaw had poured from a small cauldron. Then out came pens and out came paper, and as the shed leaked cold and water, together they spun a long verse play, harsh as the spray, but with a rainbow that played at times around the edges. A play the warring Irish people, the warring English just might heed. A play to work all people into a rage of peace, into a song sharp as the seaweed, sweet as honey, spicy as mint, a song the spray would whip among us, that would drench us until our bodies ached together, a song for all of us to moan on, to lilt and keen, if we could find that shed.
Now that this formula you have for writing this kind of poetry involving famous historical figures, what happens if you get cornered by one of the famous historical figures that you use?
Well, you sort of have to go with the flow and let the historical figure take over if they get you in a corner, you know. They're pretty much in charge.
Do they normally appreciate the appearing in the poem, or does it go the other way?
Well, as long as they get royalties, they don't complain much, you know.
Ah, that's the spirit. Speaking of royalties, how did you get started in the poetry racket anyway?
Well, actually, when I was in the 11th grade in high school, I had a teacher, Mr. Ashcraft, who had us read Drums Along the Mohawk, and we were supposed to do a project on it. I was getting tired of salt maps, which I was never very good at, so I wrote 3 poems about it, and I got a very good mark from him, and I said, hey, maybe I'm a poet, and I've been attempting to be one ever since then.
Ah, that's an unusual story. Most people in that situation would end up becoming a drummer.
Well, I thought about that, but my rhythm was never good enough.
Ah, but you do have a certain meter in your poetry. I see you have a little one coming up, so why don't we have that?
Yeah, it's in my voice, but not my hands, I guess.
Ah.
Okay. This is a little one that's going to appear in an upcoming issue of Medicinal Purposes. This is called City Apartment Blues. It's about how I feel living in New York City and wanting to go back to the country, or at least a smaller place, which is going to happen soon. City Apartment Blues. So you remember the fiddle, blues in a country dance hall, bird that imitates all the night's throats, and you long to be there as that song soars, instead of empty here.
What triggers off a poem like that, really? I mean, not besides the obvious thing, you're uncomfortable in this urban metropolis we have here. Actually, that's a redundancy.
Yes, well, I'm not sure. I think it's probably the sort of thing where you just get a line and you keep going from there. You know, a lot of times I hear the first line and then you see where it leads you. You get the feel and the rhythm of it, and then you go with it.
Okay, what else have you got in there?
Okay, I think next I'll do a couple things, perhaps from Hunting the World.
Okay, while you're looking for that, I might point out that Alexandra looks like she might want to take you traveling. What part of the world would you show, David?
I think definitely, from the looks of him, he belongs up in the mountains in Northern California. Very suited for that sort
Panning for gold?
of people and environment.
Okay, you got a poem in there?
Okay, these are poems of peace and justice in one sense or another. And the first is called Waiting for Wind. This is about the phenomenon that disappeared in Latin America, to which the U.S. has unfortunately contributed. Waiting for wind. The days run away and hide in corn stalks, in sugar cane deep in the roots. A person disappears, another, becomes a fish with lungs, is found. We bury the body of our childhood, cold mother, cold brother, in the ground. At night when insects hum, hot wires, our genitals melt, run off with rain. No one comes for months, for hours. The glass stands empty on the nightstand. Fruit fallen in the fields lies rotting, decaying into fetid ground. When boots are heard outside the locked door, clocks hold their breath. Screams have no tongues. We sit in the conches of our bodies, waiting for wind to sound, to sound.
And what else have you got in there?
This one is perhaps a little lighter than that. This is called There is a Fountain, and was written about a fountain indoors in Midtown Plaza, Rochester, New York.
Are there any fish in there?
There aren't fish, but there are coins lying on the bottom that people throw in there.
Now you're talking. Okay.
And this is, okay, there is a fountain. There is a fountain in the plaza that reaches almost to the ceiling. Gouts of water, drops of water, twists of spray fall past the staircase and shake the pool. Beneath the surface, coins lie, metal wishes scattered on the squares of blue tile. A penny whispers, "Make her love me." A dime says, "Let me find a job." And everywhere beneath the water, American voices speak their longings, confirm our deep belief that money talks.
What can I get for 50 cents?
Well, for 50 cents, you could probably wish to have a poem published in medicinal purposes.
Oh, it doesn't take that much, honestly. All right, one more little one, I think.
Okay. Does this look about the right size to you?
Yeah.
Yes, all right. Okay, this one, my father died in August of last year, and this is related to that. It's called The Wild Flowered Tie. Sitting in my parents' old room, where I have the convertible guest bed piled up wrong, a high mountain bed with 2 mattresses stacked tippily, which was the best I could do without instruction, I remember my father, whose tan suit I wore to his memorial service, along with the wild flowered tie we gave him. He only wore it once before he died. Visiting hours at the funeral home, it was the first tie I'd worn in countless years. People said how much it looked like the colorful ties he used to wear. Sure, and I have a touch of his optimism, which I wear under my ironic skin, waiting to shine through its pale whiteness, even as I sit here jobless, unless you count being a 50-year-old poet, self-employed.
And thank you, Alexandra Portal. This is Poet to Poet. We'll be seeing you.